Welcome to Windsor Castle. Join us as we explore some of the paintings from the royal collection on display here. The Waterloo Chamber is a vast and imposing room that was commissioned by George IV as part of his reworking of Windsor Castle in the 1820s. Named after the battle that brought about an end to the Napoleonic Wars in 1815, the walls of this room are lined with portraits by the artist Thomas Lawrence, featuring some of the military leaders, diplomats and heads of state who played a role in the defeat of Napoleon.
Thomas Lawrence was the leading artist of his generation. Following the death of Joshua Reynolds in 1792, he was appointed principal painter to George III. However, it wasn't until the following reign under George IV that he really began to be employed in earnest. This vast commission, which commenced in 1814, occupied Lawrence largely for the remainder of his career. He spent almost a decade travelling across Europe to obtain portrait sittings in order to create the 28 portraits in this ambitious scheme, most of which were actually delivered after his death in January 1830. Lawrence depicts the Duke of Wellington as a national hero, standing victorious beneath a triumphal arch and holding the sword of state, symbolising royal authority. His Field Marshal's baton, an emblem of his office, is placed beside the letter signed George PR, signifying the gratitude of the Crown. In the distance, a procession leads to the Thanksgiving service celebrating peace in Europe, which was held at St Paul's Cathedral in July 1814. Sunlight begins to break through the stormy clouds, symbolising hope for the dawn of a new era.
Lawrence's portrait of Pope Pius VII symbolises the victory of peace over war. Imprisoned for 5 years for opposing Napoleon's plans for the annexation of the Papal States, the Pope was released in 1814. After his triumphant return to Rome, he became the figurehead for the political, cultural and spiritual regeneration of Europe. The Pope is shown seated on the papal throne in the Vatican, one foot nonchalantly resting on a cushion. In the background is the new Museo Pio Clementino in the Vatican, celebrating the return of sculptures previously looted by the Napoleonic forces in Rome.
John Count Capodistria rose by his own talents to become one of the most distinguished politicians and diplomats of the Russian Empire. This portrait was painted at the Congress of Vienna in 1818-19, where he acted as the plenipotentiary, a diplomat with full powers for Russia. This portrait shows the influence of Rembrandt, with the sitter's frontal posture and direct stare, as well as the rich, heavy, accentuated shadow across half of his face.
The Waterloo Chamber is one of the most popular rooms on the public route and is still used for grand festive ceremonial events today. This includes investitures, state banquets, concerts and theatrical performances, as well as the Garter Lunch, which takes place annually in June and is attended by 60 guests.